And we'll talk about what those things mean and how this work in the email. So looks like as we're sitting here, Philo has sent us an email. Can we open that up, Paul?
Yeah, let's take a look. It looks like it's something about dinner, which is popular right now for some reason.
It looks like David wants to go to Burger Palace for dinner tonight, and I guess, some things just never change after all these years, but Philo still wants a greasy burger for dinner. But maybe what we can do is drag that message into the Yahoo Maps application on the left and see what happens. Okay, so what has happened here is that the Yahoo Mail application engine has really figured out that we are taking an email message. It knew it was from David Philo. It knew it was in my network. Popped up as part of his profile, which is data that David has shared with his network. It showed that he likes Thai food and burgers, and other preferences that he has in his profile. But also, it also took the address that was in the email and automatically maps it onto the map of Las Vegas. It pulled up Burger Palace because it knew that we have Burger Palace as a structured data point in our database. We pulled it up. It has ratings. It has reviews. It has more information. So this all looks pretty cool. And the idea is that because Yahoo Mail has become much more of an application environment, we're automatically running email content, things that can be applied to that, to things that we can figure out that maps to maps. Now, the map stuff looks pretty standard, Paul, with satellite and hybrid and things like that. What's this tag button on the right?
Well, let's find out. I'm going to click on it.
Whoa.
I actually knew what it was. It's a tag map, and what that means is this is a look at what the world finds interesting. It's effectively a collective look at, it's a collective map, if you will, of what the world finds interesting. In this case, it's Las Vegas. It could be anywhere in the world. And the bigger the word, the more people have tagged it. Now, the tags come from Flickr, people tagging Flickr photos going online.
So they tag it with a location?
Location. Matter of fact, for the last almost 2 years, we've been running a beta program.
So this is actually live. So I know the whole demo is sort of a concept demo, but this is actually a live.
Yeah, this is live data. And as we open more, it'll get even richer with the information.
So what's this dolphin in Vegas? What's that all about?
I don't really know, actually. This is the cool thing about it. You get to look at what everyone finds interesting from, CES, good, very interesting, In and Out down at the bottom, and then dolphins. So you actually not just get a view of what people find interesting, you get to discover new things based on what people find interesting.
Right.
So let's take a look.
So you click on dolphins, and you're seeing Flickr photos that have to do with the
Exactly.
Vegas dolphins. Apparently, there's a dolphin show.
And it's apparently pretty popular because that dolphin word's really big, so I might check it out later.
Well, that's great. So let's get back into the dinner invitation. But what we're saying is that because of all the data that we can sort of understand from all the Flickr photos and all the different places people tagging, as we open up that infrastructure, we'll get even more of that data to allow people not only do something useful, but also discover, in this case, with dolphins.
Oh, absolutely. It allows you to find out new things in the world. It's just a really rich environment that we brought all the structured data into to allow us to explore.
That's really neat. Okay, well, going back to dinner, I think we wanted also to invite some family and friends to dinner. And one of the things that we're envisioning for the future, especially around this idea of a smarter inbox, is this notion of My Conversations on the left, lower left corner. And what My Conversations is meant to be is a way for the Yahoo Mail and the Yahoo inbox to digest all the different conversations, all the different threads. And previously we had talked about having a CES dinner. And this dinner is a series of conversations, emails, IM, SMS, text that go back and forth. And Yahoo inbox was smart enough to go figure out, okay, I have this CES dinner thread that's over there. So maybe what we ought to do is just drag that thread into the map and then see what happens.
So we'll drag the CES dinner thread, bring it on the map.
Okay, so there's a lot going on there. And what has happened is that it went through all the emails and IMs and other threads and figured out that we're talking about dinner with 5 or 6 people. In this case, including myself, there'll be 6 of us. My mom, my wife, Marco, and Mark Davis. It also pulled all their profiles and understand that my wife loves seafood and Mark Davis is a vegetarian. And what it's also done is, based on either preferences or reviews or other things, started to suggest different restaurants. Those are the orange numbers that you see to the right of each person. On the bigger map, you see that the 5 locations were found that, based on David and my wife and everybody else's preference. The bigger font numbers represent the one that has a bigger match, and the smaller font is one that has less match. And looks like number one, whatever number one is the best match. You want to just tell us what that is? And
we'll take a look at it. And I just want to emphasize, though, that since everyone that we dragged onto here is willing to share what they liked with Yahoo, we were able to take that, go out to the world, and what everyone found interesting, and start reducing that down to what they would be interested in. So, yeah, let's take a look. Oh, it's a Little Buddha.
Little Buddha at the Palms. I've never been there. Is that something? What is that place?
It's actually pretty cool. It's an Asian fusion place. Has some Thai food. It's a really good place to eat.
Well, you're the cool guy, I guess. So what it would do there is looks pretty good, and it sort of matches everybody. Was probably David's least favorite place, but he likes Thai food. Hopefully it has something there that matches his taste. How do we go about creating invitation for all these folks?
Well, there's a couple ways. Since we have the eVite application integrated into our environment here, you'll see on the information for the restaurant itself, we can send an invite from there. But being on stage, I want to be a little more showy, so I want to do a drag and drop again.
All right.
All right.
So I'm going
to click on the one representing the restaurant, start dragging it across. And as you'll see as I do this, it pulls all the relevant information that we were talking about on there and into the eVite.
I see. So again, the idea is the eVite will be a third-party application that has drafted something for Yahoo Mail here. This looks like an email application, eVite application, and it's figured out the thumbnails for the different people. It's included Little Buddha at the restaurant. I think you just typed in the date and a little message. Again, the idea is that we're leveraging the fact that eVite has this very powerful invitation system without and having that as a third party integrated into Yahoo.
And the reason why they would want to do that is within this environment they get access to all the structured data we have. So it enriches the user experience and it extends their reach.
That's great. So why don't we hit send?
All right. And the same way that we were able to find out what everyone liked on that map, we can actually find out what people might be interested in when we send the invitation. So it keeps going. In this case, we're taking a look at a mobile phone. We're adapting the invite to what the phone screen size will do. I think this one's Marco's, actually.
Okay.
So you'll see we sent a headshot of you. It sent some information. It sent a basic invitation. But it also included other information.
Yeah.
So not everyone gets the same invitation. It's actually personalized to the person based on the information they shared with Yahoo.
That's great.
It's really useful. I mean, especially around dinner or something like that, you often have to do a little extra convincing to get somebody to go.
Well, Marco's very picky about his food, so we definitely need to convince him. So mobile is one way to send out these invitations. Let's say my wife is sitting in the hotel and watching TV, and we have the digital TV efforts. How do we send that invitation?
Well, let's take a look. We have someone sign in on their television. They're watching some sort of entertainment. And then message
you'll see a message from me,
and Ian
which is better open, usually showing me.
Crafted for the environment, so it wasn't too obtrusive. She opened it. You find all the information that you found, the basic information that was in the other invitation. So you're come join us for dinner, and then the information on the restaurant.
But then there's a customized piece on the bottom.
Yeah, again, and then this one's Flickr photos. Your wife is part of Flickr. So we sent some Flickr photos, just did one search in the background, included them, and had Flickr photos that are like the menu and some shots of the restaurant.
Great. And thank goodness she's saying yes, right?
Yeah.
Great. So as we get back to the demo and go back to the front page of our new Yahoo inbox, we noticed that really is one thing that we're trying to do is really create a very simple, easy to use, understand metaphor to do some fairly complicated things. It's taking advantage of the social networks. It's taking advantage of connections. It's taking advantage of a lot of structured data. It's taking advantage of a lot of tags and data that's out there that's been submitted by all of our users.